couple bucks there. I'm a paperhead.
Welcome back, race fans. We are live recording with my man Nate and Josh. Josh, how are we doing today? How are we feeling?
I am doing fantastic.
I am
as
glad.
we head towards one of my favorite racetracks of all time this week.
It is your favorite track and my probably most hated track at the moment. I have had a disastrous week and a half on this track so far. Practice race was rough last night. Just for some reason, I'm figuring out that I am not smooth with the wheel, the throttle, or the brakes for the first time in about 6 months of racing. So with that said, guys, it is race number 7. One more to go after this. We are at Laguna Seca. You know what though? I'm gonna take a step back here. I might not be good at this track, but I've been here a handful of times. I've watched the MotoGP races here, which is insane, especially at the corkscrew. And I am looking forward to get into it. But we are going to jump right into qualifying as our silver drivers hit the track. And yeah, it's looking pretty good, man. These guys have been putting down some impressive times. I've been watching them throughout practice about an hour before we got on. They're getting down to the 125s right now. B Roberts sitting in P1 as of right now with the 125-1. I think we're going to see him drop down to the 124s. Would not be surprised. We got Condola currently up on his time about 3/10, and he's already at a 125.4. Could see him dropping down very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. I think the man to watch today is going to be Pat Cockcroft. And all your Porsches and Hondas, I have a feeling, are going to be doing very, very well here at Laguna Seca today.
Ooh. Sorry to interrupt there. That spicy Porsche lap there. 124.4 from the Division 5 manager himself, Jerry Finkel.
Yeah. But just right out of the gates, wasting no time to waste no time.
Absolutely wasting no time. Nate, glad to have you back. How are we doing this week? How are you doing this week now that you got your stream figured out?
I got the stream, yeah, rebounding off a little technical difficulty there, but feeling really good. You know, bouncing back after my first podium finish last week, and hoping to do the same this week, tomorrow, in fact, for D6. But you know, tonight's got me even more excited. We've been conditioned to see just a lot of really, really awesome racing from the guys in D5. So I'm real thrilled, real excited to be here.
And I tell you what, you know, just taking a quick look at the driver standings and the team standings before the race, it is close. Like this really Laguna and next week, which I'm not even going to attempt because I'm going to have to practice very, very hard this following week on how to pronounce Kalami, right? Is that it? Yeah.
Kalami.
I'll get it.
Or the go-to calamari.
Calamari is how I pronounce it, and I think I'm just going to stick with it.
I think it's
no one's gonna shame you there,
man. But I am very, very, very excited to see how this is gonna go. It's gonna be a very tight battle down to the last race. As we're taking a look at Cube Master right now, I think it's Cube Master. up about a second on his time. Could be a decent run as he loses it all on the last turn, which seems to be a very common occurrence. Very, very unfortunate. The only other person up on their time right now is B. Roberts in a very nice looking McLaren. Couple tenths up, going into the red, back into the positive. Let's see how his lap is going to turn out here.
Yeah, one thing we're going to notice through qualifying is just how much time someone can gain or lose in just one minor adjustment to a corner. And that last corner, like you pointed out, is such a critical area. You go deep by inches and you're losing tenths.
It's
such a critical corner to hit that apex.
It is absolutely insane how, I've been grinding all week on this. We had the Transatlantic Cup on Saturday, which I don't want to talk about.
Me neither.
No harm, no foul, but it was wet. We're just gonna leave it at that. It was very wet. It's probably some of the harshest conditions I've ever raced in. But I like, you have to be so precise. What's that say the Navy SEALs saying? Slow is smooth, but smooth is fast, or something along the lines of. I might have that backwards myself there, but it stands so true for Laguna Seca.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. I think you hit the nail right on the head. Not that I was a Navy SEAL by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that's exactly what's required of the drivers here at a track such as Laguna Seca. You know, you have a lot of really crazy sausage curbs that are conveniently located right at the just pinnacle of the apex, right where you want to find your car. Maybe perhaps have a little bit of room to just kind of eke out a little bit wider, and upon doing so, you might find quickly though that your car is in the next space.
Yeah, I've struggled all week. I mean, I personally, I can't even get down to the 22s. I'm so close. I'll be half a second up on my time. And it's like Josh said, it's like Josh said though, you get to that last turn and I lose all of it. I maybe I'm over driving the car. Maybe I'm impatient. I'm just going to blame it on my wheel. That's plain and simple. I had a wheel malfunction, but we're not here to talk about me. We're taking a look at our top two times here. We got 3 people down into the 124 range right now. We got Finkel, Condola, and Schultz sitting P1, 2, and 3. Looking all good. They're all up on their time. Schultz, the biggest advantage, about 3 tenths up on his time. Everyone's coming up pretty good on their times here. Condola takes P1 with a 124.3. Should be able to get one more lap in here before our gold drivers take the track and start warming their tires up.
Yeah, that's right. And one thing you may notice is that the placards are a bit all over the place. We had some technical difficulties and had to move to a different server, but didn't afford us some of the luxuries we get, like those sorted pretty colors. As
Yes.
we see a few cars throw yellow flags pushing on their last laps.
Yes. And those pretty number plates that we are all scrambled up here, unfortunately, will make it a little hard telling us our silver drivers from gold drivers. But what we can tell you is silver drivers are the first 10 minutes, gold drivers are the second 10 minutes. If you are new here, that is how it's done for qualifying. No passing. And it looks like Finkley takes P1 for silver, 124.2. Very impressive time. I would just like to take a minute as the gold guys are going out onto track, and let's take a look at our track map. So as you cross the start finish line, coming down to sector 1, you have the turn 1, or the little kink, and then you have a very crucial, all of the track is crucial, but sector 1 to me can be very crucial. You have your double apex for turn 2. Got to get the power down. Really try to get, it's like an off 90-degree turn. I think it's just a little bit more for turn 3. Not too bad, but very easy to spin it. Then you got a quick tap of the brakes into turn 4, down the back straight. You got another slight little bend as you reach turn 5 at the start of sector 2. Now, from turn 5 all the way through basically to the start finish line, it is very easy, very, very easy to lose time. Sector 1 definitely got to be smooth, hit your lines. Then you come into turn 5, power up the hill. Then you go to almost a nearly blind turn 6 with another uphill section. You get into turn 7, and then what I believe is 8 and 8A, which is your corkscrew. Which, little fun fact, it's only about, I think it's 440 feet from the very top to the bottom, and it drops 5.5 stories.
Wow. That's
Yes,
scary.
that
Yeah, no
is
kidding.
that is wild. It's wild to do in a car, but like I was saying, I've seen MotoGP here before, and you want to talk about terrifying, absolutely terrifying. But after the corkscrew, you have the very, very tricky turn 9, coming down that into turn 10, and then the tricky turn 11 as well for sector 3. And if you can nail all that, you have completed a lap at Laguna Seca. Like I said, slow is fast.
It's not easy.
Slow is fast, fast is slow. However it goes,
That's
it
right.
is gonna be some very, very interesting stuff here. As we take a look at our gold drivers out in qualifying right now. Do we have any penalties this week? Josh, could you take a look at that for us if you don't mind?
Drum roll, please.
I never could roll my R's.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try.
That was actually
I
me
looked
trying.
in the wrong place.
Right there.
We have a pit lane start for driver 657. And that is going to be
7 McDonald.
Bad with numbers, Mr. McDonald.
Yep.
Did
and
the
he-
right thing. Did not go out during the qualifying there.
that
And like, sure, you could go out and then just not hit drive, but then that also makes the gap spot on the grid and leaves people more likely to take out of position penalties because someone may think, oh well, I need to fill that gap now, and nobody needs those headaches because we unfortunately can't revert those penalties. You're gonna have to serve them during the race, or else you're gonna get disqualified.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Now, I have to say, coming into our gold qualifying here, as the guys get a couple laps in, I think my pick this week is going to be Cockcroft. He has done phenomenal. I've seen him put down some very quick times, very, very quick times. And I think it's going to be some pretty spicy racing. Like I said, Porsche definitely very dominant around this track, it seems. Hands down, got to be probably the best car. And I've noticed the Honda and even the Aston seems to be very well on this track.
Yeah, these the light cars and the mid-engine cars, especially light cars being things like the Porsche, they love this track. There's a lot of banking, especially in sector 2, minus the blind corner. A lot of room to just throw the car down to the apex and let it hook up, and those cars seem to love it. Things like the Aston, the BMW, we're seeing a few people do it with Shabadoo and Kendola up in the top 5 there, but they require a little bit of massaging, I guess you could say, by throwing the car into the corner a little bit, getting the weight to do the work for you, because there's only so much grip out there, and that track is deceivingly narrow.
It is, and as we talk about that, the Porsche of Pat Cockcroft throwing down our first 123 of the race. Very respectable, and I know he's got way more time in him. I'm curious to see if he's going to throw down a 122, maybe high to mid 122. I can see it in him. He's got some really, really solid pace this week. It is going to make for some very, very exciting racing.
No doubt. Something I've also seen this week, and it seems to be the case with these very, very precise tracks, is that even within an individual split of a division, there is quite the stark pace difference in qualifying. But you do notice during the race that a lot of those paces bunch right up.
They
And
do.
even some of the guys that are in the backfield
They
tend to have their qualifying pace during a race.
They definitely do. And as Pat comes out of the corkscrew, almost half a second up on his time already.
Absolutely.
And if he could just
flying.
nail this last turn here, he is going to be putting himself very, very close to that 122 mark.
Big
Actually,
improvements out of the last corner. Makes a
drops a little bit, but he is really going to try to secure that P1 spot for the race. Is a 123.375, our fastest lap so far in qualifying, with 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go. And I'll be honest, I don't see too many people up on their times right now. Daniels is looking all right. He's looking pretty good, holding down P5 here. Question is he going to be able to hold on to it? Schultz was up on his time, dropping down just a little bit here. And actually, Rodriguez looking like he was on a heater there for a second. He's losing a little bit of time, but he's about half a second up on his time as he comes and moves himself up to P8. Very nicely done as well. And it looks like Zitko moving himself up to P5. Very, very nice from Jacob. Who else we got popping up? We got Daniel Rufus for a Bitch Peas, one of my favorite liveries.
Bitch Peas.
Currently sitting P14 as he comes through the corkscrew. Losing just a little bit of time, but can he make it up in sector 3 and cross the line and bump himself up past P14?
Doing a beautiful job of just gently rolling that car through the corner, carrying as much speed as he can. Gets down to the apex tidy,
gains a lot of time in that last turn. And that should bring him up to P10. Very, very, very nice. Very nice. And it looks like Greer's also up on his time as well. As we,
just a nice patient attack from him.
Probably not going to be able to get another lap in for Greer as he just crosses the line there, but it looks like Daniel's up on his time now. Should be able to get another lap in. Oh, I lied. I don't know if he's going to get another lap in. But he is definitely cruising up on his time. 2/10 up. 3/10 now as he comes into the corkscrew. Very, very blind, tricky turn. Continuing to gain time coming out of the corkscrew. Possibly trying to get himself up into the top 3 here as he comes through the final turn. And just unfortunately loses all that momentum. Like I said, very, very easy to do. Rufus again, still on a heater coming through the last turn. Looks like he's losing just a little bit of time. Now he's gaining it.
Found another 7 from the
and
last
he's
lap.
moving up to P4. Wow.
What a lap.
What an absolute heater. And it looks like our last car coming across the line. Greer gonna move himself up to P11 as well. And as it stands, we got Pat Cockcroft P1 with a 123.3, and then Condole with a 124, Finkel with a 124, Rufus with a 124, and we will end it with Cube Master with a 124.3. I gotta say, the top from P2 down to P12 is very, very, very close.
Yeah, you're talking just a few hundredths of a tenth of a thousandths separating.
Yes. Yeah, I mean
the entire.
I mean, it doesn't get closer than that. They are all very, very close. But before we jump into our race here, let's take a look at the team standings. So we have Lightning Sharks still holding down P1 with 735 points. Then we drop down to Ghost Rider Racing, Cheaper Than Therapy. Definitely can agree with that name, by the way. Cheaper Than Therapy.
I like
Therapy's
it. Yeah,
expensive.
it's one of my favorites.
But a rig can get
SRA is
expensive very quick.
Yeah.
But they are 121 points back, still in this championship fight. It is still very possible for a few of these teams to get that number one spot. No one is safe. 2 races to go with 614 points. Then we have Virtual Safety Car in the beautiful AMR with 579 points. Only 156 points back. They could have a very good race. And then Baseline Racing holding down P4 with the Ferrari. 442 points, 293 back. I think we're going to see our top 3 teams really battle it out these last 2 races here to make things very, very spicy. And if we take a look at our driver standings, overall, we have Jacob Zitkow holding down P1 with 445 points. Aaron Byron racing for Team Virtual Safety Car, 373 points. Also, only 72 points back. Ren Aoki holding down P3 for Baseline with 362, 83 points off the lead. Rigatoni holding down P4 with 327 points, 118 back. Sean Daniels, P5 with 313. He's 132 points back. Realistically, depending on the finishing orders here, we really could see some close battles coming in towards the end, especially with our top 3, really top 4 are very, very close in points. Very excited to see how this is going to play out here in the near future.
Yeah, no question about that, especially when you look at the top 20 splits. Literally from 1 to 20, the largest gap is 2 seconds, and that's largely separated by a couple tenths of a second in between each position. So it's going to be a very evenly spaced, very evenly paced, but yet very intense match from what I can tell.
Now, who are you guys going to keep an eye on for this race? What are your picks going into Laguna Seca here?
I'm in agreement with you with Cockcroft. Failing that, I got to go with my man's Rigatoni or O'Houlihan. But Cockcroft has really, I think he's really found his stride in the Porsche as the season has progressed. He continuously finds himself with pole position and making some really good moves. So he's definitely my go-to. But yeah, I would not be surprised to see Rigatoni or Cockcroft, or I'm sorry, O'Houlihan in the top 10, top 5 either.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I really think Cockcroft, if he can keep it together, he can keep it clean, not overdrive the car, I think this is going to be a walk away for him. He does have another Porsche Finkley right behind him. Qualifying, hot laps, practice is one thing, but pulling it all together for the race, that's where it's going to count. And that's what it's going to come down to. Who is going to be able to stay nice, clean, calm, cool, collected for this race
the whole
here.
9.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is definitely going to make for some very, very nice racing. Josh, do you have any picks for tonight?
My eyes are on Zitko car 687, currently in 6th place, but I feel he is going to be hunting for some points after what happened at the end of that Barcelona race, and I guess just kind of throughout the race, little bobbles, bit of a a tarnish. He's usually a very clean driver from flag to flag, so yeah, I see him pushing really hard and trying to make an impression on that top 3.
I do, and I'm also going to keep another eye on Daniels as well. You know, he's shown in the past he's got the pace. He's definitely got the pace. He's got the consistency. Hopefully, we don't see any unfortunate events entering the pit. I don't want to jinx anybody here. You know, it is a very short pit. It comes up, that pit entrance comes up so quick. And then it is a very, very tight left-hander into the pits. And if you're one of those first pit stalls, I mean, it's going to be tough to really hit your mark. Like you know, when you're getting that server password, you definitely want to get in there as quick as possible and try to get a nice top spot. I think that's going to play into a lot of the pit stop strategy going into this week of racing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Oh, I just now realized I don't think I hit drive yet on this.
That's okay. We caught up before the race. We are professionals, though. We caught it.
That's right.
We caught it. You know, the best stream team ever.
Yeah, I think they
That's
call it
gonna-
60,000 hours before one is considered a professional, and I think we're there. I'm pretty sure we're there.
In my mind, we're there. In my
Yeah,
mind.
that's right.
As the drivers on their warm-up lap, I'm seeing a little bit of lag coming from Finkel, which is not looking too good. Hopefully that will sort itself out as they start to get double file here.
Be honest, it kind of looks a little bit scary if I'm the cars around him coming into turn 1.
It's
I'm going to be trying to keep some extra room.
It is a tough track to pass on to begin with, and then adding stuff like that definitely does not help. As we are coming in too wide here, very, very, very excited. I'm also very nervous for turn 1 here. I've watched the practice race or participated in it. I've seen people try to go 4 wide. Let's try to keep a clean race here, boys. Let's see what we got. I got the front of the field here. If Nate, you want to grab somewhere midway as the green drops.
Yes,
Pat Cockcroft taking a egregious
Drive
drive
through.
for that massive lead off the start. As Jerry's spinning out or lagging out, I don't know what's going on.
I think he just disconnected.
Yeah. Oh, I think he even brought up that fact, like, hey, there's a possibility of this happening.
And it
What
does,
happened with
does
Pat
look like
Cockcroft?
we have a ton of cars off in the back here. I see a couple drive-throughs as well.
Yeah, I think the those collisions in the back and yellow flags were partially due to that spinning peekaboo machine just popping in and out of cars' ways and causing some minor collisions.
Yeah, definitely not something that you want to see. I honestly want to take a quick replay back at that and see what exactly happened here as we're coming through. That does not look right. That is it showing? What is going on here?
I see,
There we go.
Pat Cockcroft
He's
on
coming out
your
of the pits.
screen.
The replay may have gone back. He is taking his drive through. We're going to switch back up as we have Condola coming across the line in P1. Rufus right behind him in second place. And it looks like Zico's going to try to possibly make a move. They are still packed up. Looks like some people dropped back in a single file line here, but everyone is still nice and tight.
Yeah, look at that map. Look at that map, and you can see the centipede action.
It is beautiful.
Of the entire line.
The
What a beautiful-
centipede action. That is one way to put it. I love it. We are sticking with that for the rest of the season and into season 6 or 7.
6.
6. Thank you.
It's
I
on
think
the
it is
think
6.
about it too.
Yeah, I was like, well, now that you mention it.
Well, we're sticking with it. Let's see what's 7. 7-2. It's coming.
It's a 2 season
Gonna throw a
thing.
nice trademark on it as the cars come through the corkscrew. Got a little bit of wideness there. And
Yep.
looks like Swan just going off
Swan
track
took a
just a little bit
bow.
there.
That's right.
We got a nice little pack forming up back here as our front half really separated themselves. The top 6 are just flying ahead of these boys here.
Yeah, and Gutierrez right now has found himself gaining 7 positions from where he started.
And I tell you what, I really want to keep an eye on this front pack here. If you keep the picture on that second pack, that huge train of cars we got.
Sure.
These guys are all very close. There are people itching to get by each other as Condola is got a nice 2.5 gap right now in the Beamer too. And Rufus trying to chase him down with Zico right behind him. Cube Master, Daniels, Shabadoo. I mean, all very, very, very close.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm kind of seeing out of this battle for 2 and 3 here, is we see a spin in the picture-in-picture.
Yeah, we see. I think that was
It looked like Schultz.
Rodriguez. Was that Schultz?
It looks like
I think you're right.
it is Schultz rolling down here.
But this battle seems to be more of Jacob knocking at the back door going, come on, let's go. I'm not here to overtake you, I'm here to push you along, because they're moving a little bit away from Cube Master. He's not really going for some overtakes that he's had the opportunity to move for, but they are making a little bit of ground towards Candola.
And as Jacob comes in,
oh no!
Oh, at least he gives him that little love tap back up.
That's right.
But
quick recoveries on all parties involved there.
But man, what a loss for Rufus, dropping down here just a little bit. As they're still kind of going at it here. As Cube Master was able to work right around that. And it looks like Ellis coming in for his drive through. As Condola is just walking away right now with almost a 3-second gap now between him and P2. Let's take a jump back down towards Rodriguez, who's put down our fastest lap of the race so far, as he is breathing down the neck of Farrell in the McLaren. You know, I want to say it looked to be like a relatively clean start, minus the lagginess, but
Yep, that's
man,
what I've seen too.
These guys are really starting to pick up the pace here as everyone kind of gets a little spread out.
No doubt, everyone's kind of coming into form, and the one thing I think about BMW is,
and the picture-in-picture Rutledge there, just losing it on the corkscrew, was doing a good job of keeping off, the two guys behind him there. He was in 15. That would have been.
Oh my gosh.
Stedman. Oh, that's just moving quick now. I can't even see. And he loses it again.
No, he was side to side with a car, and it appears that they oversteered, came across.
Take a look back out of this.
That's right.
You can see
Stephanie
just goes sideways.
It looks like Stephanie forgoed her position and gave that back over to Rutledge, though.
A little bit out on the dirt and throws him across the track.
Very, very unfortunate, but
that contacted him. Okay.
If we take a look back here, I think I went back a little too far. Hopefully we can catch this action. It looks like Rufus catching up to Daniels. Daniels making his way up to P4. Cube Master now with the fastest lap of the race of a 1:25.6. I'm gonna apologize to Daniels for putting the camera on him there. But Cube Master just working his way up through the grid.
Yeah, speaking of Cockcroft, who found his way hastily to last place, is now in 17th place.
Very unfortunate, but sometimes you gotta do the old restart the router trick a little
That's
bit
right.
before the race. I know I always do.
Yeah. Have you tried turning it off and back on again?
Yes. But Cubemaster's definitely putting some pressure down. Very curious to see if he can start knocking some time off Condola here. Now, Condola still just gaining on his laps here. Probably about holding steady now with Cubemaster rolling in behind him. And as Cockcroft now putting down the fastest lap of the race with a 124.6, I'm sure we will see him work his way up from P17 back up to the
No
top 10.
question. And the picture-in-picture, you'll find him trying to battle his way past Stedman. But Stedman doing a really good job of blocking the lanes, blocking the optimal lines, and keeping him at bay.
Yep, and
there he goes, and Cockcroft makes his move, and he takes it on the inside, and he's going to, but he backs off at the last second, allowing Stedman to hop back over in front of him.
what a pass that was. Let's take a peek. Get him on the big screen as they're coming into the corkscrew. All over the back of Stedman again now. Is he going to go for the inside here, or is he going to back out just a little bit? Backs out, but can he get him coming through the last sector here? Going to be the big question. Looks like he's going to go for the outside.
Yeah,
backs out of it just a little bit, playing it safe.
And Stedman with a fantastic job of, again, just blocking that optimal line, knowing exactly where Cockcroft was going to be, perhaps even before he did.
But are we going to see the inside line available here? He's digging in deep, but just got to be patient. He's going to have to be patient to work his way back up towards the top here.
Yeah, he's going to wait for his move, and he's a patient guy. And right here he finds it as Stedman loses himself into the sand.
And now he's got some time. He's got a little bit of a gap, got some clean air, going to keep working his way up. And it looks like Ellis with a stop and go 30. Very unfortunate. I don't know if that was from clearing his pit stop there or not, but as we just take a look back up top, Zitko still following behind Cubemaster here. Jacob really looks like he's just trying to stay nice and steady, following Cubemaster. The two of them have dropped almost a second on Condola up front in P1. Definitely have him in his sights. Still early in the race. As I see a caution from Stedman again. Looks like he just went off in the corkscrew. Very, very tricky turn as he's going to drop down some positions here. And let's take a look at the battle with Rigatoni, Swan, and Perlin. Look at all these boys in the Ferraris and McLarens grouping it up together as the Stardust Competizione Ferrari looking very sharp.
Oh, and yeah, Rigatoni finding a move on Swan on the inside as Swan kind of lost it going around
but he
turn two,
catches
Rigatoni
the
does same, and then he gets
sausage
tapped from behind
curb.
into spin, and he's facing 180 degrees in the wrong direction as Cockcroft comes around and narrowly manages to avoid him.
Jeez, and they're gonna what a rejoin, boys. What a rejoin.
Wow, no kidding. Oh, and then gets passed.
Oh, you hate to see it, but those sausage curbs are just so dangerous.
They're brutal.
I want to get back up with this group here, though. You know, just taking a look at Rufus. Rufus down in P7 right now, was looking very good in qualifying. As they're just working the way up, he's got Rodriguez right behind him, Farrell right in front of him. You know, really, really gonna be interesting this next couple laps here. I think they're really gonna start tightening back up, patching everything up as Zitko looks like he was falling back from Cubemaster as well, and Condola still holding a nice 2-second gap in the lead. Not quite comfortably, because I don't think there's a comfortable position on this track.
I was gonna say, I don't know if anybody's comfortable right now.
No, this track has you on the edge of your seat the entire time, gripping the steering wheel.
Sweating bullets.
Definitely.
I don't know about you,
sweating.
but I'm always drenched
bullets.
after my laps here on Laguna.
Oh, is definitely a brutal one, as it looks like Daniel going in the gravel just a little bit, still able to hold up some time. And he is just hunting down some cars here. I think my timing table is off here just a little bit. Unless he has...
Speaking of hunting down, watching Rene Oki in the picture-in-picture as he's hunting down Rodriguez right now, going through the corkscrew, coming up the apex of it. Just doing a really good job of applying constant pressure to the rear end of Rodriguez, and just making sure that he knows that, hey, I'm here, and the moment you mess up, I'm gone.
He does.
I'll see you later. And this might be that chance right there, and it is. And Aoki passes Rodriguez as Rodriguez loses it around one of the final turns here at Laguna Seca.
And you hate to see it. We're just popping back up with Jacob out in P3 as Cube Master goes off track. Oh, gets a little bit of a spin. Very unfortunate. Is that end passes Condola? Condola goes off too as Jacob takes P1. Condola right behind him, and Cube Master not far now behind them as well.
As a brave man on the internet once said, it's free real estate.
It is free real estate. Josh couldn't have said it any better, and whew, man, that all happened so quick. So quick here. Let's let these boys kind of catch up to each other again here. Let's see if Jacob can hold out for his maiden voyage in P1.
And we've said it a few times tonight already, but it seems to be the story of this track. Just hang out behind, give them some pressure, and let the race unfold. Things are going to happen. Everybody is going to make mistakes.
Absolutely,
here.
and
just want to be there.
Just taking a look at Cockcroft barreling through the corkscrew.
We're seeing it live on main cam 1. You just want to be there when everybody else is going to be making mistakes to capitalize.
And it looks like we're going to have some Porsche on Porsche action coming into turn 1. Who's going to get the better run down the front straight? Who's going to break later? Can Cockcroft get the... Can he get it in there? Can he get it in?
Get it in there, Lewis.
Come on, Lewis.
Taking a nice tight turn 1, getting the power down. Dropping back just a little bit, but definitely looking very smooth.
Just doing a fantastic job of keeping probably one of the most difficult racers on the grid tonight from passing you in a Cockcroft. Doing a great job of keeping him behind him, finding the optimal line, not losing control of the vehicle, not losing grip where it matters most. And he's just doing a great job.
I tell you what, with the split between these two, it just looks like Cockcroft's going to go for another corkscrew pass here.
This is where right now is where I'm very interested to see how does this corkscrew play out.
Oh, they're both taking a little bit different lines here, but as he comes in the inside, there he goes, makes the pass, puts the block on him, making his way back up to P10. What a move. Very clean. Takes a lot of confidence to take that inside line there. As he comes down the front straight, we're going to jump up to Shabadoo, as Shabadoo looks like he's making his way up onto Daniels. Daniels holding him off very nicely. Can Shabadoo keep the pressure on him in the Aston?
Oh, wow. And a good battle brewing between O'Houlihan and McDonald in the picture-in-picture, and O'Houlihan takes off in the final turn of Laguna Seca and manages to keep his line, and McDonald just having to concede to that fight, and O'Houlihan lives to see another day.
And you love to see the good old O'Houlihan cam.
A fan favorite.
Absolutely
right
a fan favorite. I saw
certainly
a lot of requests for him, hood cam, during the TA
the
Cup.
Transatlantic, yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say certainly a lot of requests for the as one viewer put it. Oh man, I wish I could remember who it was. The O'Houlihan.
The O'Houlihan.
was definitely requested several times throughout the viewership.
Yeah. And we got a nice little pack of cars here. Makarov still just keeping a nice tight gap. But let's take a look back up front real quick to Condola. I seen him maybe going a little wide through turn 1 here, but he is gaining on Jacob in first place, as the two of these have a nice little gap between them and Cube Master around the 5-second mark, as they are getting ready to go towards that back straightaway. Can he put
No.
the pressure down?
I think he can, but the one thing I've been wondering about since the start of this race, with the amount of gap that Harvey pulled off the start there, I'm wondering if that BMW may have overworked his tires.
It is.
Got them a little bit too hot. Maybe that's why he spun there, and Mr. Zitko was able to make both of those positions. And how damaging could it be to, after letting them cool down, push again to try and go for this overtake?
It definitely could be very damaging. I've noticed in my practice laps in the BMW, they do heat up very quick, and to the point where I considered taking tires this race. That's how bad it was.
That's
And
how
it
you
looks like we
know.
have a nice little spin off here coming into the corkscrew. Let's take a look and see what happened. It's just coming in. Looks like he just gets a little sideways. Very unfortunate. That bottom section of the corkscrew will do that to you. Will throw you right off track very easily. And it looks like Farrell trying to make a move coming down into turn 1. McLaren on McLaren. Can he get it done? Or is he going to back out? Save his position. Looks like a nice clean double apex.
I've seen a few drivers already just very clearly setting up moves.
and
Oh, Shabadoo spins
Shabadoo's
off.
going off into the gravel. Looks like he caught a bit of the sausage curb. And it looks like Aoki now going to come in, put the pressure on him. Can he get a good run coming down this back straight into the corkscrew? And
The corkscrew is definitely the place to do it. That corner right there, I know a lot of drivers love to stick their nose out into your window to try and scare you a little
Ooh.
bit, but not the best place to
It
go
looks
for a
like
move.
Aoki trying to come out on the outside there. Just getting a little scare
squirrely.
there.
Both drivers a little bobbly coming out.
Yeah, you know, and it's very crucial to get that last section out of the corkscrew down. If you don't get a good line out of there and you gotta lift for any longer than you have to, or if you gotta tap the brakes, it's very easy to go wide. And that will open the door for Rufus to start catching up to them.
Oh yeah, going wide is one of the downsides, but the big thing you got to keep in mind, and it's honestly the simplest thing that has the biggest effect, you brought up how steep that corkscrew is, and the hill doesn't stop there. It is all the way down until the end of that left-hander. So
That's right.
anybody who's behind you who has hit that corner correctly is going to be going down a very steep hill full speed. So they're going to be going a lot faster.
It is, and you know what? I think we should get a nice solid look at it as we take a look. You know, let's hop on board with Cockcroft in the Porsche, because he's coming up on a Farrell and Rufus, I believe, maybe just Farrell, but he is pushing very, very, very hard, and I am curious to see what it's going to look like as they are coming into the corkscrew here. Inside, as you can see, very blind turn. Got to aim for the tree and the Marshall as they come through. Coming out nice and clean though. Very clean, very tight line from Cockcroft coming down that.
I think that's one of the main reasons the Porsche is so fast here, just how well it hooks coming down that hill.
Getting that turn in, and as we come into the last turn, he's
and
gonna
he
go
goes
to
for
pass for
both.
2 and another
Oh, and
contact.
Cockcroft.
Again.
As my mom used to say, his eyes got bigger than his stomach right there. And he's still gonna take both positions.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that decision there. I mean,
Yeah.
stewards may have something to say about it, but I'm not a steward.
Yeah, we
if
are
anything, I would
definitely
think
not stewards up
Rufus-
here, but definitely should give the position back there. We're going to take a jump up to Daniels as he is starting to close the gap to his teammate Cubemaster.
Oh, and as O'Houlihan gets tapped coming around the final corner of Laguna here by Schultz, and Schultz just keeps going.
We will take a quick replay at that as Schultz looks like he just gives him a little love tap,
yeah.
but very nicely waiting, probably not in the best spot on the racing line, but we'll lose the position due to that. But let's Patches go through.
Yeah,
very
Schultz
nice
does
to
the
see.
absolute right move right there.
Absolutely good to see that type of stuff happening. As we scroll down towards the back of the pack, it looks like we got the two Merc boys slowly reeling in a Ferrari of Schultz. Nice little gaggle of cars coming down that back straight.
Surely.
There's a tight battle going on for P5 as well. I don't know if the Pip wants to pick up on that, but Shabadoo and Rene Oki are fighting it out for who could capitalize on pit
And
stop errors.
I apologize, I'm swapping up here. Daniels gets around Cubemaster. Cubemaster must have made a slight little bit of a mistake. And Daniels now on his way to try to hunt down Condola in the BMW, who is still falling back. Was catching up to Jacob in P1 at first. And Josh, I think you're right on his tires. I think they may have just been a little overworked, but our pit window should be opening up here any minute.
Arrange those words ever so slightly and you'll be bang on in a minute.
In a minute,
44 seconds away
the
from
pit window will
opening,
open, and it looks like
that's gonna be the
Ellis
savior.
gets another stop and go 30.
Oh.
Very unfortunate for him.
And one of the worst times to take it too is I believe you cannot stack a stop go 30 with a pit stop. So they'll have to make 2 pit stops here within 3 laps.
On top of his drive-through and previous stop and go 30.
Not the best race for him, but
It
I will say he's been pushing hard. He is still with the pack despite his previous early stops.
that he is, and I'd like to take a pop into Farrell and Rufus right now, as Farrell really putting that pressure down. More McLaren on McLaren action. I thought he was going to go on the outside there. I nearly had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was
a little scary. That outside strip and going into turn 1 is very tempting to use, but if you use just too much of it, it gets very slick.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it gets
can
real difficult to keep it on track.
easily shoot you way too far out of turn 1. But it looks like
it seems like he thought better of it at the exact last second.
yeah, and we got another nice little battle here with the McLarens coming in, going down the uphill section. That was a
See it
little
right there,
counterintuitive.
too, just a little bit late. It's almost like everything other than the racing line on this track is glass.
Yes, it is very, very slippery if you are not on that line, as they are slowing up for the corkscrew. A little bit of lag coming in, dipping that front bumper through the track. Very interesting. Some opposite drifting.
As Rigatoni makes a wide pass around Roberts as he's trying to approach Swan and Farrell as fast as he can.
He
Does
is
a real good move, and he's coming up quick here at the very final turn.
He is, and we're gonna take a look at Farrell again, back all over the bumper of Rufus. Gonna try to swing on the inside. No, he is not. He's gonna back out respectfully. Coming down there, and as we pop back up to the front, it looks like Condola making his way back up, close the gap now, almost to about a second behind our leader. And I'd be very curious to see when Condola is going to go into the pits. Is he going to try to just have a nice little reset, hit, fix a little bit of that, fix the clean air, you know, get it out of the way, just get into the pits as quick as possible, go for the undercut. I completely messed everything up that I was trying to say, but it's okay.
I thought you nailed it.
I thought I fumbled every single word out of that. We'll take a look back at Farrell. Actually, we're gonna take a look at Cockcroft. Cockcroft looks like he was going for another pass there, but he is just pushing, still holding the fastest lap of the race with a 124.2, 124.1 now as he crosses the line. Super impressive. Because it looks like Shabadoo's dropping down into the pits, giving Rigatoni another spot.
Boys, I have a question.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Did we get the pit window pop up or no?
Son of a bitch, now that you mention it, no, we have not.
I did not.
We don't have the mandatory stop counters on any of the cars, so
you know what though? It looks
somebody might get away with this tonight, but we're gonna have to keep our eye out for anybody who does not hit their pit window.
Josh, this is why you're the smartest in the booth.
Hey, that's a stretch. That is a
I didn't
stretch.
even realize it. All right, I didn't even realize our little mishap
I'm over
here.
here thinking I had too much lettuce before the race, but in reality, the servers are just not cooperating tonight.
Yeah, they've been uncharacteristically unreliable as Rigatoni tries to make a move just before the corkscrew, and he does, and he forces. Was that Roberts off the track?
It looked like it. We are going to go back 15 seconds and take a look on the big screen, see what happens here as Rigatoni's coming into the corkscrew.
Gets into Roberts' head, and Roberts just goes right off.
I tell you what, I think Roberts just probably caught the curb on the outside trying to hit the brakes.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. Now, I would have to say, I don't know how you guys are with your fueling, but I do my math, right? In the practice session. I fill up and I minus 1 liter for that extra little bit. And I always cut it. I mean, if we have an extra lap, I'm screwed. If some people opt out to not pit here, which it looks like some people respectively are trying to stick to that pit window. We have seen a decent amount of people jump in. Maybe we just can't see it on our end.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and I'd say, actually, I'll count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers have pitted. One of them being Cockcroft, who took drive-through, sorry, for the start. Shabadoo, who took an actual pit stop. Ellis, Rutledge took stops. McDonald and Fisher.
Oh, and sorry to cut you off here, but as we go, looks like Condola getting back to P1. Daniels very close. Jacob just went wide as Daniels spins it and hits Jacob.
His own teammate.
Or who was it?
That was Daniels.
We're just gonna take a swing.
Or no, it wasn't.
No,
was it?
We're gonna go back and watch this here. As you can see, our leader goes wide. Oh, it was as Condola takes the lead here. Condola goes wide, takes out Daniels in the process, allowing Cube Master to move right up to second place, and Jacob to hold on to that P1 spot, and Cockcroft now making his way up to P4, chasing down Daniels. He is definitely bringing the heat.
Yeah, no doubt, he smells the blood in the water. He sees the spinning cars.
Definitely does, as Daniels opting to pit now, probably to get rid of some of that damage. Opportune time to do that, but still a massive loss. And I'll be honest, I don't even see where did our BMW driver end up?
He is not in the server.
He is definitely not happy about that one. It is very unfortunate. But the race continues
Must go
on.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it
that's a
looks like
shame.
we have a nice, oh, never mind, that's not a battle. That is somebody exiting the pits, but we are going to stick to it and watch it as we have a very tricky pit exit. As he is swinging back out onto the track here. Fong coming out in P19. And we have maybe a little battle in the pits here coming out. Not necessarily. Oof. Just taking a look at the angle of that corkscrew from TV cam 1.
It's scary.
It is absolutely terrifying.
I've seen a few
Cockcroft.
videos as a couple of our drivers around SRA have actually been to the track and been lucky enough to go out and drive it and whatnot.
And it looks like
they're on
Cockcroft
board for-
coming in to take his mandatory pit stop. Looks like everyone is respecting the pit stops here. I don't think anyone wants to take that risk of saying, hey, I didn't take it, even if it wasn't working. Coming in that last second there.
Still do have 11 drivers who have not pitted yet, and we've got a minute and 20 seconds left here in the window, so fingers crossed, because
Yeah.
be ashamed to issue a bunch of post-race DQs.
Yeah, I just wonder how many of them are relying on seeing the notification that the pit window is open and probably perhaps don't realize that the pit window had opened and closed by the time it dawns on them.
Somebody
and so therefore
stuck in the pit wall here. What is going on as Rodriguez is pulling into the pits? I'm not even gonna ask the question on what just happened there. We're just gonna we're just gonna take a look over here. As it looks like Brule coming through the corkscrew, putting some pressure on the Ferrari. Can they get it through? Might have a couple battles coming out of the pits here, as it looks like Cockcroft finally getting out of the pits, working his way back up. Only lost one position from his pit strat, and we take a quick look as Aoki jumps up to P1 as Cubemaster and Zitko are in the pits. Let's take a look as they come out. Let's see if Cockcroft is going to pass them as they make their treacherous journey out of the pits. Does he have enough time to come catching up?
And Q-Masters actually made the position in the pits.
He did. He did, and I'm not sure if
longer stop by 7 seconds. Well, it's going to be tight for these two. Side by side out of the pits, and the Porsche prevails.
very, very nicely done. Seeing a lot of stop and go 30s up on the board still here.
Oh, as Jacob looks back down on the outside to see if he can hold it on the Porsche, but that thing's got a lot of grip. It's going to get a much better exit. Yeah, we're still looking at Ren Aoki, Colin Farrell, who have not pitted, and the pit window is closed. So Ren just dove into the pits now.
See if Farrell decides to follow him or if he did not get the memo. Because it looks like someone going wide.
Oh, wow.
And we see if Jacob can start gaining some positions back, getting back up to P1. Pit's not treating him well, unfortunately. Dropping back some positions here as we take a look. Cubemaster with the provisional pole. And Cockcroft making his way up to third place. Should be provisional second as well. And I'm sure he's going to start eating down some lap times into that McLaren. Let's see if Cubemaster can keep it together. We'll take a jump back to Shabadoo here.
Looks like Ellis is taking a pit right now.
Ellis should be serving his stop and go 30 this round of hits here. It looks like Zitko's slowly catching up to Cockcroft. In the Lightning Sharks AMR, coming through the corkscrew looking very fine.
Yep, and I got the bonnet cam or the bumper cam on Zitko here, just trying to see what kind of action will come of it.
Well, I tell you what, you let me know if he closes the gap there. I'm gonna take a peek down to Rodriguez as he is coming up to Greer, which I believe is his teammate.
Yeah, definitely.
As they come up to the corkscrew here. Almost to the corkscrew, as it looks like Greer going wide, gonna leave the door open for Rodriguez. Rodriguez coming in, cutting over into the braking zone, coming down through the corkscrew. Very, almost kind of clean, but gets a good exit. Needless to say, makes the pass stick. It was a little scary. I could definitely mention that.
Until it wasn't.
He put all of his skill into the overtake and kept that clean. That he just had a little bit left to get through the corner and did the best he could.
Yeah.
You know what?
In all honesty, he pulled it off.
If that was me, I probably would have been shooting into the left side wall.
Oh, same here, man.
So I will give him that, and we get some more corkscrew action as it looks like Cockcroft doing the same thing.
Yeah, Zitko just doing everything
he can to try to catch up to Cockcroft, putting that pressure on. And you know, the Porsche, if I understand correctly, the further you go into the race, the less pressure you have on the front tires due to the fuel tank being up front. And I wonder if he's really starting to struggle with some tire wear after pushing so hard this first half of the race, and just a little bit lighter fuel load in the front. Could he be suffering and getting a little, you know, maybe a little understeery, oversteery, just making it difficult? But he's still proving it out here, still holding the fastest lap of the 124.1. Looking good. Got everybody cleared by it. Almost a full second. Second fastest time, it looks like, is Jacob, which is right behind him, holding about half a second back. And it looks like they are going to be working their way up into some lap traffic with Houlihan just ahead of them. But I gotta say, these guys are looking good. Very curious as Cube Master holding down P2. Farrell technically up front, but I don't think he took his pit stop.
He is not.
So we will see how that plays out.
Yeah, and with there being no window, we won't see anything on like the timetables at the end of the race, unless a steward drops the hammer on something. But for now, he is currently up 14 places and enjoying that first place position.
And I am sure he is. And it looks like we have a little bit of a spin off here as we go back in time. Take a look at that awful sausage curb that got somebody earlier in the race. Forgot who it was, if it was Daniels or if it was Cockcroft, or not Cockcroft, the BMW driver. We'll take a look back up to the front here. It looks like, you know, Jacob's really pushing to try to do what he can to catch up to Cockcroft, and it just he gets so close. But I think that Porsche is just got that advantage through some of these turns here that the AMR doesn't have. And you could see he is really pushing to do the best that he can and really try to just gain as much momentum through each turn. I am curious to see how these last couple laps a little later on in this race are going to end up, if he could keep that distance. or yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens if we take a look at Shabadoo. Shabadoo now looks like coming down, getting ready to go to the back stretch of the track. Looked like he was gonna carry a little bit more momentum through there as they come getting ready to go up to the corkscrew. Can he put the power down, catch that McLaren, and make a move?
Yeah, catching up here with Rigatoni in the sixth position as Zitko makes a move around Daniels around the very last corner of the track and just absolutely blows by him and Rigatoni himself. As it looks like Daniels just kind of lost a little bit of control there on his exit throttle.
Does, and as we take a look at this battle coming down the front straight, who's it gonna be? I'm trying to keep an eye on Cockcroft because I see he's about half a second back now from Cubemaster. Let's see what happens coming into turn one here with Shabadoo as he dives into the inside as the McLaren turns in a little bit on him.
Oh, a little bit of contact, but they both seem to recover okay.
They do recover okay, but we're gonna take a pop back up to Cockcroft here as he looks like he's ready to take a move. As they come into, it looks like the last turn. Can he get him? Really pushing, really taking the inside line on that, sacrificing maybe a little bit of straight line speed. But he does have the inside line. Is he going to stick the move coming into turn one? Oh, he's going to back out of it. He's going to back out of it. He's not quite there yet, but he is really putting that pressure down.
Yeah, he is.
And both Cubemaster and Patrick are catching up to Farrell, slowly chipping away at that 4-second lead that he has.
Yeah, and this is a lot of the reason why Pat Cockcroft is so fun to watch. Is he's never out, you know. So he can have a mistake early in the race, but you might find that he just kind of climbs his way back. He's unrelenting pressure. And
I have a feeling if he can get a good stretch up here, I think we might see another move coming into the corkscrew as he's trying to get into the inside. Now the outside, swapping back and forth. Is he going to try to put the pressure on him? Oh, he is pushing with all of his might, going off track just a little bit there, a little bumpy for the Porsche. Taking that inside line, holding it nice and tight.
Now I got Pat Cockcroft on the bonnet cam here, just trying to find a lane around Master, and he's looking for the outside
here we go.
Here, but Master's gonna have the inside. He's gonna have the advantage.
Very, very hard to pull a switchback off in that turn. Very hard.
It is.
But he's definitely got more of a run. Coming down the front straight, he's got the inside. He is gonna hold it this time. Can he stick turn one? But Cubemaster will have the outside line advantage if he can make it stick coming in more.
I don't think he will.
But he just can't hold the momentum coming through as Pack is just gonna breeze right on by. Beautiful, beautiful racecraft from them too. And now he is working his way and gonna start chipping away at Farrell and see if he can get that P1 spot. And if we just take another look back, Zitko also trying to get in on some action with Cubemaster. Really starting to gain some time on him. Can he catch up? We will take a look back at that as Aoki looking like he's trying to get another move for the baseline racing team. Can he stick it right here as they go side by side coming into the turn? Aoki's going to take the outside line. Maybe not the best, but can he get a good run coming into the corkscrew? I want to see some more corkscrew pass in action here, guys.
Yes, sir.
It is a dangerous spot, but it is absolutely mayhem as Aoki's coming up the inside. Is he going to push him wide?
You got it.
He's going to back out of it, respectfully back out of it there.
I thought for sure that was his place.
It's a hard turn. It's a hard turn to get right to begin with and be consistent. But man, to make some passes on it. Oof.
Yeah. You want to talk about one of the more difficult sections, one of the more difficult turns.
Oh, as Aoki taking the inside as they're coming down the front straight side by side. Who's it gonna be? Ferrari on Ferrari. I think Aoki's gonna be able to handle this. He's got the nice inside line. Looks like Rigatoni. Oh, with the switchback as they're coming through. The end of turn 1, coming into turn 2. Can't make it stick. Rigatoni able to hold his position back. What a battle coming out of that last turn, and they are still going. Let's see if Aoki makes another run on him here on this back straight. Absolutely fine racing. Very
No
fine
question.
racing. And here we go. Here we go. Coming up that back straight. Who's going to get the better run at it? Both taking a very similar line. Not that there's many options coming out of that turn. Coming into the corkscrew nice and clean. Looks like they're going to be held up just a little bit by some back markers here. Could play into it very well.
There's a blue flag there.
And we
so I'm
are going to
curious
be
know.
keep an eye on this in the picture here. I'm going to pop back up.
You got it.
It looks like Jacob made his way up to Cube Master. Looks like he's trying to get some pressure on him.
Rigatoni making a move on the inside, makes a pass with Aoki just right on his tail. In the picture,
and
you
we
can
are
see
gonna.
Aoki just trying to get that draft right now, doing everything in his power.
These two are
And he
just
does.
attached to the hip. Man, these two Ferraris are really going for it here. And it is, you know, if you look, they are battling for position here in the team standings. You know, Baseline and Stardust, Rigatoni, Aoki.
Aoki
Man,
just got a massive
the
jump
gap,
on that
the
turn
gap
4.
between them is not even 10 points. So coming down to our last couple races here, I mean, every position is going to count for these two in the team standings. Some beautiful racing from these two.
No doubt about it. And that's what you come to expect from these two guys all season long. You know, they've consistently shown Aoki, Rigatoni, Cockcroft that they really have the endurance, have the consistency to put forward consistent laps, solid laps all race long.
Yep, and as we
Aoki
say
just
that,
barely
Aoki
kisses
going
the sausage curve
off.
on the inside.
Very unfortunate. And it looks like we got some more passing coming into the corkscrew as we have a bunch of cars lining up to come down. And let's just take a look here. Cockcroft making his way, trying to get a pass in for P1. Is he gonna make the move on the McLaren of Farrell?
He's doing everything in his power. Consider, he came back from the very beginning of the race. If I'm not mistaken, he was last place because of the what was it? Stop and go?
He had a drive-through off the start.
Drive-through. Okay.
And he has just powered his way through the field, taking that pit stop. And let's see if he can get this move done coming down to the front straight as he tries to kind of get his nose in there a little bit. Probably learned from some previous incidents, not the best thing to do. It looks like he's going to be just a little too far back. I don't know if he's going to be able to get his nose in there. He's probably going to have to line up, wait for a better opportunity. See if Farrell goes wide, and Cockcroft just opened the door back into P1. What a move. Absolutely insane. And it looks like we got a nice little battle brewing between Rodriguez and Rufus as well. Rodriguez pushing hard up the back straight into the corkscrew they go. Coming down, looking very sharp. Racing for Team O Fudge. Absolutely love it. With our holiday season liveries here, and we'll take another look. Check in on Jacob and Cube Master as they are getting ready to approach the corkscrew.
I'm still keeping an eye on Farrell's bumper cam, just trying to watch him as he makes some approaches, makes some moves. trying to regain his position to Pat Cockcroft here. I think Cockcroft is just going to be a little too much for him.
That he might be. It looks like we got another nice little battle brewing in the back between Rutledge and Swan. Justin trying to put some pressure on him and coming into the last turn, getting ready to accelerate down the front stretch. Can he get some more suction from that car in front of him? Doesn't look like he's going to be able to stick anything in the first turn. But every time I look towards the top of the board, Zicko is just on the tail, putting the pressure on Cube Master. Every time I look up there, the gap is just closing just a little bit more each lap. Possibly waiting for Cube Master to try to make a mistake, maybe trying to force an error on him as he tries to take those alternative lines. Josh, like you're saying earlier, really going off that racing line seems to be very slick. It's really hard to not take the actual racing line on the track as Cube Master putting a nice little block on him. They're checking up, coming down the corkscrew, putting a little bit of breathing room. Very, very tight. And Jacob really putting the power down. I think it's going to get very, very spicy between these two in our last couple minutes of this race.
No doubt. It'll be interesting to see where Mr. Farrell ends up finishing here before the race actually, by the time the race actually finishes, I should say, is he did have quite a big gap up to the lead, but like I'm pretty sure you were saying, they're slowly making their way towards him. Is he gonna fall off the podium, do you think?
With the consistency from Cube Master and Jacob both, they've been pretty solid all race. They're currently lapping about just under a second faster than him. They got 5 minutes to go. I think they can catch up to him. The question is, if Farrell does hold on to the podium, will he be able to keep it afterwards? That's going to be I think that's going to have a lot of deciding factors here, since we did have some server issues earlier today. Who knows? It also could be on our end. Maybe we just can't see it for some reason. But
yeah, I can't rule that out.
I don't think that is the case. But looks like Jacob trying to put a move on him as he takes the sausage curb, gonna hurt him coming down that front line, but the McLaren just might not have the top speed. The Aston does. Is he gonna try to dive towards the inside, or is he gonna take the outside? He is gonna file in behind him, maybe trying to play it safe for this last couple minutes and really make a push on the final 2 laps. I find it best to stay behind somebody, learn their moves, see how they're taking each corner, and then save those last 2 or 3 laps to really put the attack on and see where we can get a good spot. And it looks like Shabadoo going off, taking a look back at the replay, just getting a little sideways at the top of the corkscrew, but luckily saves it, thankfully, to the sand. And we'll take a look back down towards Rutledge and Swan in the battle for P13 as they're coming up the back straight. Rutledge all over the back of Swan. McLaren on McLaren action, coming up to the corkscrew. One of my least favorite turns, but favorite to watch the action at.
Oh, really? I think it's one of my favorite sections.
I absolutely hate it. Absolutely hate it. And he's gonna get him on the inside here as he comes. Nice tight line on the inside, holding it, making the pass for P13. What a move. What a move. Very, very nice.
With confidence and authority on that inside line. And
absolutely.
Not the first time we've seen that tonight, and I don't think it's the first time we are going to see that across this race. I'd call it weekend, but we do this in the middle of the week, so.
That is very true. Very, very true. But I would like to take a look at the old Houlihan cam. Just for everyone watching the replay here. A nice little cruise through sector 1. Hitting his lines, very nice. Absolutely beautiful. As we take a look back up top at Swan and Rutledge, can Tony close the gap and try to get P13 back? That is going to be the question as they're coming down this back straightaway here. This turn here to this little kink before the uphill, I find it to be very, very difficult to get on that power early without shooting the car out too wide. I feel like you need to cut in kind of early and count on some understeer to carry you through the rest of the turn.
Which turn is that?
The kink in the back straight. I don't know what number it is, to be honest.
The blind left with the sausage that likes to play peekaboo with you when you feel like you've hit
Yes,
that
it's
corner right.
almost as if when you're coming to it and if you start to turn in early and almost aim for that sausage curb and get the power down and force a little bit of understeer, that seems to be the best way to gain some time through it. Probably ruins your front tires, but really as your suspension compresses coming into that, really going full throttle on it seems to be the best option to kind of get through it here. Just a little tidbit there, and it looks like Jacob, as we come down to our last minute of the race, really starting to close that gap up on Cube Master. And I gotta say, Patrick put almost a 9.5 second gap between him and Cube Master. I mean, the man is on a mission today, showing the full potential of the Porsche here at Laguna Seca.
No doubt. Just flat out push from flag to flag, and hopefully there's no other colored flags in between here in the finish for him, but just a dominant drive. He had that drive through on the start, fell back to, I think it was like 15th, and just tore through the field.
Oh, and it looks like Jacob just getting a little sideways, bumping in, causing a little bit of a backup here. Gonna give him the position back. Very nice.
Good on Zitko right there.
But that did open the door for Cube Master to hold on to that P2 position there, and also lets Farrell through as well.
Yeah, and in the Colin Farrell debacle, I've had a chat with few of our Michael Massey officials here at SRA, and there will be some post-race discussion about this, but what is going to be done is very uncertain at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one to judge, you know, server issues in the start. You can't really blame anybody, although they do know the typical rules and the typical race set, but we will see how that unfolds later this week.
Yeah. If I had any input on the matter, which I don't because I'm not qualified enough to have any input, I would think that if you made a pit stop within, like with, let's say, plus or minus of the normal pit stops times, you know, 5, I don't know, maybe 10's a little bit egregious, but if you made a good conscious effort to do it, I think that should absolve you, because a lot of people, I feel like, just kind of rely on the in-game timer. I know I do. So if I didn't see it pop up, you know, I might look up at the time and say, oh shit, there's 13 minutes left of the race or 15 minutes left of the race. I need to go and pit.
Yeah.
And then do it immediately.
Yep, it can definitely happen that way. But as our race is finishing up, we have Pat Cockcroft coming in at P1. Cube Master, your top silver driver, in P2, although I don't know if some of those are right. Connor Farrell holding down P3, Jacob Zitko out into 4th, and it looks like as we get our last couple cars crossing the line here, who do we got on track still? Sean Daniels holding down the P4 spot. Rigatoni made his way all the way up to 5th place. Aoki in 6th. Greer coming in 9th, and Rufus in 10th. provided nobody left before that really quick. Hopefully I got all of that right. But
Hell, I'm sorry, Dan. I didn't mean to talk over the
Nope.
the last lap of the game.
There was only one little battle there, and they were pretty spread apart coming across the line. It is all good. But if we can find Mr. Patrick Cockcroft.
Pat Cockcroft with a hell of a performance.
Yes, it would be nice.
An absolute.
It would be very nice to get some people in here.
I think that I had thought that he was like down to last, but Josh, I'm pretty sure I heard you mention he was down. He got down to 15.
Yeah,
from
around
where
the
he
middle of
fought
the
back
pack.
Okay.
Maybe down
Excellent.
towards 20.
Yeah, that was some very, very good racing. There was definitely, it seemed like a lot of self-harm on some of these turns here. It's very unfortunate to see, but it's a tricky track.
It's very difficult.
It's technical. Like I said, you got to be smooth. You got to hit your apexes. Really got to put the practice down to be quick here at Laguna. And I mean, Pat just proved, the Porsche is the dominant car here. And it's very, very impressive drive by him, going from a drive-through at the start and then, just working his way through the field, being patient with some of it. Had a couple little bumps here and there and stuff, but overall, I mean, just that drive to get back up, like I said, one more race to go in the season. And the points are relatively close for team standings and driver right at the start. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm very excited to see how it's going to be next week and how everything's going to play out. And who's going to take the driver's championship and the team championship here?
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, if you look at the standings right now and how they're playing out, Rennie Oki is number 3 with 362 points. Pat Cockcroft finds himself at number 7 currently with 295 points, but he's going to get an extra 100 points. So he's going to pop his way up to 395 for that first place finish. And depending how everything shakes out, that's going to be good for second, maybe third, maybe first place.
It very well could be here. And I'm going to pull Pat up into the booth here. I see him in race review 3.
And while you do that,
I'm going to try
that
to do
we
that.
have gotten an answer from the FIA as to what will be going on in regards to these pits.
Oh, let's hear it. Yeah.
So they will be reviewing the entry list and the data that they get back, essentially like how we record all the SR rating and blah blah blah.
All right. Well,
let's see when people pit. And if you missed the pit window, you will be getting the appropriate game applied penalty of 180 seconds added to your race and finish time.
That is going to be,
sorry, Mr. Farrell,
brutal. But as I pull Pat into the booth here, Pat, how are we feeling? You are up in the commentators booth with myself, Josh, and Nate.
Man, that was awesome.
I gotta say,
that was scary.
Getting the drive-through off the start. You were my pick for tonight. I've watched you in practice. You're very, very impressive times. You putting times down that some of the D2 guys are doing.
I think it was only D3.
It's either way. He's modest. It is very. It is not easy to hit a 22, and I've seen him up there on the practice boards there.
Yep.
But man, what a race! Starting out with the drive-through, working your way up. Now I have a question for you. Was the pit window popping up for you guys?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
And luckily, I had Greer in the chat with me, and I was like, are we supposed to pit or something? He's like, yeah, make sure you pit in the window because we'll be looking at that. I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yep.
Dove in.
Yep. And that was one of our biggest questions here. Who's going to pit? Who isn't? I'm sure there will be a post later on for all of you fellas down in D5 to read from our admin team. But man, what a race. What a drive really
Yeah.
showing the potential of the Porsche at Laguna Seca, man. How do you feel?
I'm super pumped that the Porsche feels great, and I love Laguna Seca, so it was a good combo, and it definitely made it for a fun race, I guess, right?
I mean,
Oh, it was
we
fun to
enjoyed every little bit of it there.
Yeah.
You know, that was just one hell of a show. You know, and I'm just taking a look at the driver standings here. You know, you were sitting P7 beforehand. We'll see how this plays out, especially after they, you know, calculate everything with the non-pit stop issue and stuff. But this was a really good chance. You got qualified first, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's 1 point there, and then you get another 100 points for winning the race and putting down
And
the
then,
fastest lap.
It's the trifecta.
It is
Yeah.
the trifecta.
Yeah, the Triple Crown.
Looks like you're going to be making a nice jump in some points here. How you feeling going into our last race next week?
I'm not as versed on Kyalami, and I know that there's one particular turn towards the end there that
Can
I
be
seem to
very
always spin out on.
definitely can be tricky in the Porsche.
Yeah. It seems like it's tricky in most cars because they're taking like Formula cars around there too, and it's the same thing. My rear end just does a little loop-de-loop.
Yes.
So you just got to be patient. But yeah, man, it was awesome. Hopefully we can do good again next week.
Yep. Well, we are looking forward to the action here, and definitely awesome race. Exciting to watch. A couple nice little passes down the corkscrew.
Yeah.
Especially coming out of that corkscrew, that nice tight line on the inside. That was some very beautiful racecraft there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
That felt really sketchy.
To keep it stable. Yeah. Well, and that's just it. You managed to keep it stable, and a lot of the guys that you were making a pass on, stable wasn't in their vocabulary at that time. We had seen the pressure that you were kind of putting on them as you were approaching them, you know, leading up to the corkscrew. I have to imagine that just seeing you fly up in the rear view has to be a massive mental presence in the back of their mind. So as you're flying up in these guys, and as somebody who has run a few practice laps with you here in the past couple of days, I've seen the way you operate out there, and I can't, you know, you're unshakable. Do you feel that when you approach that corkscrew, probably one of the most notorious turns in the entire game, do you feel your confidence stable? Do you feel confident going into it? Do you feel like, oh boy, here we go, this could be a disaster? What are your thoughts as you enter that corkscrew, especially as you're making a pass on somebody?
And blue flags are letting me by going up that hill, and then I was just so scared that I was just going to get tapped on the rear, but luckily I did not. And it's just a lot of those turns are you just have to go slow in, and then you just get the speed coming out, and then you also don't lose it.
It is definitely a slow in, fast out type of track. I've been saying it all race, you know, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And hitting your apexes on this track and being very patient on such a technical track is definitely key to having a nice, clean, consistent race. And you definitely proved it here tonight. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, boys.
That was
a lot of fun.
We will let you run back down so you can watch the race review with everybody else, and have a good night. We are looking forward to seeing some racing next week.
Yeah, thanks for coming, you
Pat.
guys. I'm looking forward to watching this one again. That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm
Hey,
sure you
thanks
will
for
see
putting
it
on the
here
show.
soon. Have a good night.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Well, and I don't really see anybody else down in chat that I can pull up at the moment. But yeah, I mean, man, what a drive. What a drive by Pat. Yeah. What a race. You know, it was a little bit of mayhem left and right around the track. You know, every time you looked, somebody may have just been going off a little bit, you know, little bob and weave, but overall,
that keeps you on your toes a bit.
Pretty clean race. Definitely interesting. Very, very excited for next week. I'm curious to see who's gonna take the top. I'm very curious to see how penalties are gonna come into effect coming in this Friday. Hopefully this Friday we'll have an answer. But with that said, I have had a blast. Josh, Nate, appreciate you guys being here in the booth with me. Any closing
always an
words from you boys? Are we all good to wrap up here?
I think I'm just gonna kind of recap on the Pat Cockcroft point standing thing. He's at 295 right now. He got podium. He got first place tonight, so that gives him 102 points. The guys that he surpassed, they in the race tonight, with his first place finish, they're gonna eat some points behind him. I'm interested to see where he pops out at and the standings coming up to the last race of the season. I really think it's going to come down to the wire, and I think that it's going to be a lot of fun tuning into the very last race and seeing how D5 shakes out.
Yes, that it definitely will be. Josh, anything to add to that?
Not really. It's been another night of fantastic racing from Division 5. Another solid night in the booth, and it's just another reminder of why I'm happy to be here at SRA. Great racing, great lads, and great time.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. But with that said, we are going to sign off here. I am Dan, Josh and Nate with me. Again, we will see you guys next week.